How do you support a circular economy? By discovering new value chains. My name is René Kattenberg. Companies and households are currently paying to get rid of their waste. So what would happen if it had real value and you could sell it on an open market? Why do you catch flies with flypaper and bees with a trap? Bees fly in patterns, whereas flies behave irregularly. So once a bee is in the trap, it goes around in circles, and a fly tries new things all the time. So you need to understand the problem to come to a solution. In the area where I live, there are many horses, and naturally there's also many flies. And one day they annoyed me so much that I wanted to know what the purpose of these flies is anyway. So I looked it up on the internet and found out that one of their purposes is to clean nature's waste. Whenever there's a dead animal, the flies get into action. When the larvae turn into flies, their protein can transport themselves to a different area and possibly be food for other organisms. Great, but they still have no purpose in our house. So nature has solved many problems that we're facing every day. When I was working in mobile telecoms, we had backup batteries for our mobile sites that had to be replaced periodically. We paid a company good money to properly recycle our batteries that were probably still very good, but not up to the standard the company needed. Wouldn't it be better to give them a second life and perhaps receive some money before they were regarded as toxic waste? I came across this picture of the circular economy. Whilst it's nice and easy to understand, I do believe something is missing. It is still a game of two halves. In contrast, the circular economy map of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation displays many cycles that are also divided in a bio loop and a technical loop. Each of these cycles is a market in itself where supply and demand need to find each other and goods are traded. All the normal market mechanisms can work here, and the more value is added, the more attractive the market and goods are. In his book The Performance Economy, Walter Staal introduces the concept of lake and loop economies and describes different strategies for businesses to be successful in what he calls the functional service economy. In the lake economy, there's a drive from consumption to utilization. In the loop economy, goods and materials change ownership. The strategies are prevention of contamination and leakages, selling performance, loop responsibility, maintenance and operation, and remanufacturing. So why is this circular economy not fully implemented? Let's look at it from the perspective of design thinking. Desirability. When you value something, it becomes more desirable, and there are many factors driving your behavior. Wayne Fisher recognizes these overlapping stages in corporate sustainability and responsibility. Greed, philanthropy, marketing, management and responsibility, driven by the needs of corporations to deal with sustainability. Otto Scharmer identifies these stages: centralized state economy, free market economy, social market economy and co-creative ecosystem economy. There are similarities in these stages, and they also match the levels of evolutionary development identified by Ken Wilber: survival, family, power, order, success, harmony, synergy and holistic. So is there a timing and evolution that leads us to value sustainability? Ken Wilber's model is about development within the environment you operate. If you want to be more successful, then you need to change your thinking. As Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them. Broadly speaking, you'll find regulations in the order layer, businesses in the success layer, and group thinking in the harmony layer. The next level of thinking is synergy, where you combine the previous strength. To get competitive advantage, synergy and collaboration are necessary, just like in Rachel Botsman's collaborative economy. Some of today's examples are Airbnb and Uber and others. In nature, the African wild dog is not the fastest nor the strongest animal. It is very effective, however, through clever collaboration during their hunts. The Industrial Revolution gave us greater efficiency, linear thinking and externalizing costs. Through order and planning, we were able to solve more complex problems and firms were able to create competitive advantage with it. In different industries, this creates success at the expense of those at the cost side of business. With increasing resource scarcity, exploring these externalizations becomes more viable, and if you play the game well, you can create competitive advantage again. The race is on. So what are the conditions that allow change to happen? Moore's law. When the electromotor came out, you would buy one and drive your different appliances with it. Now electromotors have become so pervasive that you find them everywhere, for instance in your watch. Something similar happened to computers. The first computers filled large buildings, and today the smartphone in your pocket is many times more powerful than those first computers. They're even replacing the good old watch on your wrist. Could the same thing happen to social media? Facebook is currently dominating the scenes, but could we end up with many different social medias woven into the fabric of the knowledge economy? What happens if you put this all together and try to imagine the markets in the circular economy model shown earlier? Consider it a cookbook full of recipes. To create a great value meal, you need a recipe, the skills to process the food and ingredients. When you're able to bring these together, you create new markets. Take coffee grounds, the waste product of making coffee. Arthur Kay has won a prize with his solution of turning it into a biofuel. There's also a company that uses it to grow shiitake mushrooms. Suddenly you have a market where two new value chains are competing for the same waste resource. In design thinking, you create new choices and therefore new links in the value chain that did not exist before. Market forces then shape the circular economy, where there can be many commonalities and differences across the world at the same time. Think of it as a brain. When you learn, you create new links in addition to the existing pathways. The more you use a link, the stronger it becomes. Ants communicate in a similar way. They emit pheromones when they find food, and the more ants follow the path, the stronger the signal becomes. We also create a memory of how material streams flow and could use it to our advantage, just like Google builds knowledge on what people search for. Distribution is still key, and despite the sharing of knowledge and increased value of materials, there is still a challenge on the material logistics. It is not impossible, as the retail industry has already shown us. Yes, but waste is too cheap to follow that lead. The material cost of household waste is less than 20 euros a year. Well, it all depends. With the right idea, you can do value pricing and you will have a different proposition. How come when I put some scrap metal at the roadside together with some other waste to be collected, it does not take long for someone to drive by and collect it before the rest is taken officially? But there are all sorts of regulations that you have to adhere to and have qualifications in when you want to handle waste. True. These are to protect the commons when the waste is an externalized cost. As soon as some material is thrown away, and especially when it's mixed with other materials, the regulations help guide a sensible disposal of those materials. However, what if it is kept within the economy before it's considered waste? What if the purpose of the material stream is to increase value and the costs are internalized? You've then created circular goods that benefit society the more you use it. And you don't need the same amount of regulation that you had in the past. Looking at the zeitgeist, it seems the timing is right for the circular economy to gain traction. Some companies have already started, and the race is on. The next level of thinking is collaboration and finding synergies. There are so many opportunities when you embrace the circular economy, and we currently have the means to take advantage of it. We need to understand it better and learn every day. I'm sharing this concept to inspire and see if it can be a link in tomorrow's world. I invite you to join the discussion, provide feedback and possibly take action. Thank you.